What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Jewell, and if you are new here, hey, go ahead and hit subscribe. I am a college student at the University of Texas at Austin, and I make videos on how I got into my dream school and how I transferred, my transfer experience, and everything in between. I also have vlogs of my time on campus and also from when we went online during the spring 2020 semester. So everything will be linked in the UT Austin playlist. It is 10 p.m. at night and I put on makeup to do this video because I have a bunch of questions. I also had a subscriber reach out about a bunch of questions regarding UT Austin and my experience there. And a lot of the questions were so good that I know they could help a lot of you guys. So I figured to put it in a video format. Hey Catherine, I hope you don't mind that I made this a video, and I also hope you don't mind that it took me forever to reply. I'm so sorry, but life is just crazy sometimes, right? Bruh. But I hope this answers a lot of you guys' questions if you have some of the same ones. What advice do you have for getting into UT? Well, I have a whole video on how I got into my dream school, so I will link that for sure. But my tips are to work as hard as you've ever worked in your entire life. Be grateful for where you are and manifest. Seriously, I manifested my way here. I didn't go out and party. I studied so much, especially when it was midterms and finals. Was constantly just wanting to be doing something to be better because I wanted a 4.0. So I would say get a 4.0, stack up your resume, volunteer a bunch, involve yourself in orgs, opportunities at school that are related to the major you're applying for at UT. So when I was at Texas Tech, I was doing photography and I was in a marketing women's group and I was doing just a bunch of things that aligned with advertising. I was even working for an advertising company at that time. That is what I would say. And then other than that, continue to watch all my UT videos. Always talk about how I got in and how to get in. And of course, make sure your essays are chef's kiss because that is to make it or break it. Your essays are the only part that isn't a resume, so it's the only way that you can really talk to them as a person. So I would say get as emotional and talk about your most traumatic experiences. Now that sounds a little dark, but you need all the sympathy you can get to get into this school because it's so hard. So that was what my number one tips would be to get into UT. What attracted you to the advertising program at UT? So I went to Texas Tech when I got capped from UT Austin as a freshman. At Texas Tech, I was in the business school, but I started getting into creativity and the creative community, to be exact, which involved like photography and creative direction and all of that. My brother saw my grades at Texas Tech after my freshman year and said that I should apply for advertising because it is the mix between business and creativity. And he was so right. I am so blessed to be in the Sam Richards School of Advertising and Public Relations because it's just so on the spot of what I want to do. Advertising is an art, in my opinion. I love the fact that it funds a lot of television, the media that you see. There's just so much money that goes into it. There's so much thought and psychology. I'm really glad that I ended up here. It's also the #1 advertising school in the country. So some of you guys have asked me if it's easier to get into a certain communication degree versus the advertising, and I just want you all to be aware that advertising is super competitive. But if you're just focused on getting into UT in general, I always suggest people to try for psychology in the liberal arts school as a backup, just so that way you can use that towards any discipline and you can also still get into UT. There's a higher acceptance rate for the liberal arts school, but no shade to them, just letting you know.
I also have a podcast. Stream Becoming an Influencer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or 7 other platforms. Thanks.
How did the advertising program compare to the business at Texas Tech? So again, those are totally different schools. Like my major at Texas Tech was finance. Finance degree at UT Austin is in the Macomb School of Business, and I did not apply to the Macomb School of Business. I did get a minor in business from there, which is all I really wanted. But at Texas Tech, I feel like they were all the classes I was taking since I was a freshman were all prereqs that I needed for business classes at UT, if that makes sense. So it worked out for me just fine when it came to transfer, but they obviously were just totally different realms. Like advertising, again, is in the communication school, so you take a bunch of communication classes and you learn specifically advertising, whereas in the business school you learn finance, accounting, marketing, management, and all of that, which all of those things also apply to advertising. Like you learn about them as well, but advertising pretty much is one of the P's in marketing. So in marketing you have product, place, promotion, and price. Advertising would be the promotion and marketing, if that makes sense. What are some of the activities or projects you've had to do in class or internships? You do have to have an internship class before you graduate, but I am not taking it until my very last semester. I don't have that experience yet, but I was going to intern at the Richards Group. However, coronavirus hit, so I'll keep you posted on that. And other than that, my biggest project that I had in class was the national campaign project that is notorious in the Texas Media and Analytics program at UT. Basically, when you're in the advertising school, there is the advertising management, but then you can choose to do a specialty, like a special program, and they're called sequences. So there's the Texas Creative sequence, and then there's the media sequence. Texas Creative is for like copywriters and art directors. My friend Elise is actually in Texas Creative, and I created a video of what Texas Creative is with her in it for the school. So if you want to watch that and learn more about Texas Creative, link down below. And then I am in the Texas Media and Analytics cohort, which is the program that is all about media and analytics. It's freaking awesome, and basically you build the campaigns. So instead of having to make the creative and the copy for them, you're building all of the behind the scenes and business aspects of the campaign, which allows you to be both left side of your brain and right side of your brain. It has seriously changed my life. Lisa Tobias, who is the founder and the main director of it, she is the best professor, one of the best professors I've ever had in my entire life. She is also like one of my idols and mentors. So I have a podcast episode coming with her soon on my podcast, Becoming an Influencer, that I will link down below as soon as it is live, but it should be coming out in July. So in media, every year we have a national campaign project, which means that we build a full-on campaign with a large budget that we are given, and you work through a real agency on a real client. So this last semester I worked on Yeti through Accenture, and my group won. We built a whole campaign for Yeti that was omnichannel, which just means that we used a bunch of different media outlets and we had a cohesive brand message. And yeah. Are there any prerequisites or required classes you have to take your freshman and sophomore year that have helped you figure out your interests? I took all my prereqs at Texas Tech, and I think I loved all of them, to be honest. I really loved math, I really loved science, okay, actually I did not like English, but I liked the poetry class. But yeah, other than that, I don't feel like there was any one prereq class that I was like, yeah. How has UT's advertising program helped you set yourself apart for the future? Well, the advertising program, like I said, is the #1, so like I'd love to flex about that. And just all of the professors that I've had, they either have agencies, they've worked for agencies, they have connections at agencies. So as long as you are networking with your professors, like you're making a network of their network, guest speakers. I feel like there's opportunities of like, we got to work with an advertising agency for our national campaign project I just told you about. And also I got to meet Stan Richards, which is the founder of the Richards Group, an advertising agency in Dallas, and also the man, the myth, the legend that sponsored our advertising school. What is something cool you've personally liked doing as an advertising major? Again, the campaign projects, super dope, but mainly getting to use the fact that I'm an advertising major when I am pitching to brands as an influencer. It's one of my favorite things, and also learning about influencer marketing, since this is what I am building my future on. How does your experience learning about business compare to advertising? I feel like I have more fun in the advertising classes. Business classes were very generic to me. My camera battery died. Oh my god, this one's gonna die too? The next question is, what do you feel like your education has set you up career-wise, and what do you want to do in the future? So I want to continue to build my own brand, seek into talent management, and then of course being talent, being in the entertainment industry. Being able to survive on Amanda Jewel as an influencer is also a goal. So I would say that my education has showed me it is 100% possible because there's so much money going into advertising, and that has to do with influencer marketing as well. Have you been able to get real world experience? Absolutely. We've worked on case studies in my ICM class that were about coronavirus and Southwest Airlines, South by Southwest, White Claw. Yeah, it's a lot of real world experience, especially when we were working with the agency remote, because we were able to do a full campaign with 6 other students as a group, all remote, and then present and a competition, and it was just really cool. What is a typical class style like? So the classes are usually pretty big. When you have actual lectures that are more information based and tests and stuff like that, you may have a book as well, but usually the lectures are huge, like you have anywhere from 200 to 300 students. Yeah, but you can still get the one-on-one interaction with your professor. I'm the girl that always sits in the front row and raises her hand whenever there's an opportunity to breathe, so you can still connect with your professors even in those big of classes. Go to office hours, etc. And then there are other classes that are super more intimate, such as the creative sequence and the media sequence. There's a certain amount of kids that can be in the cohorts, if that makes sense. So I have not had a formal internship yet, like I said earlier, but I would say to whatever company you want to work for, go online to their website and then go to their job section, see if there's anyone that you can email or LinkedIn connect with these people. That's how I got my connections. I went to their websites, I looked at who I needed to add. I added everyone on the team of where I wanted to, what department I wanted to work in. And then once I was connected with them on LinkedIn, I sent them a message and they were like, yo, send me your resume. And then I sent them my resume, and yeah. So I would definitely say use LinkedIn to your advantage. And if you have professors that have any connections with companies that you would want to work with, I would definitely say to use that. I think one thing we boast about in Texas Media and Analytics is that we have such a wide network. So use whatever network you have to your advantage. I've also been asked where to live when you're in Austin, and one, I would say all of my classes I just found out are going to be online for the fall semester, so I will not be moving back to Austin, which is weird to say. So if you are still moving back to Austin and you have classes in person or just to live there, West Campus is where a lot of students live. It's very expensive. I paid over $1,000 for one room in a 4-bedroom apartment. I continue to have roommate nightmares, and you should avoid that at all costs. But sometimes you just can't help it. And anyway, you could also live in Riverside or north of campus, but Riverside is more affordable for sure. It's just farther away, so you would either have to ride the bus and account for traffic. But also, other than that, I've had horrible experiences at my student apartments. Oh, and don't live in if you know what I just said, then save yourself and just don't do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and don't forget I have a podcast, Becoming an Influencer, where I sit down with inspiring professionals and I talk about what it takes to be successful and their journey to becoming an influencer. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok and Instagram at @theamandajewel, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.